Hey TNT Strong, Taryn here. Welcome to my closet. For today, you can see my nice beautiful shoe wall. This is all of my active shoe wear that I do have. So western side of it there, which is on that half, we won't look into that side because that's a little messy. We'll just stay on my side and we'll get through some shoes today, either in the gym or just kind of through my friends and family and stuff. I always get questions on what shoes you should wear for what activity, and is there like certain shoes I should wear for this activity and certain shoes I should wear for this activity. So today I wanted to spend some time on a couple different versions or different styles of shoes that you'd want to use for certain things. So for example, I'm going to go through lifters and why you want lifters versus cross trainers or cross trainers versus lifters. Then move into maybe road shoes or trail shoes and the reasoning, pros and cons for both of those, and also hiking boots too as well, and why maybe hiking boots versus a trail shoe. So let's first start with lifters. Used for certain shoes, certain movements. So a lot of Olympic lifting like clean and jerks, snatches, anything that needs a quick power stomp movement to the ground. Jerks. Also, if you're doing any kind of power movements, like maybe a heavy squat, deadlift, sometimes a lot of people like to use those too as well. But usually Olympic lifting is what the lifters are used for. Not anything jumping or quick movement side to side. That is not what your lifters are for. So let's break down the shoe a little bit when it comes to why we use lifters or why we choose lifters for those movements. First thing is, let's start with just the base of this shoe. So I love the Noble lifters because they have a wood solid base. I used to, when I first started out with Olympic lifting, I used these, which are my Adidas. The base between these two, so we'll compare these two kind of next to each other. The Nobles, you can see, has a little bit more of a wood base, so it's super solid. There's not a whole lot of movement to it at all, side to side or kind of flexed there. When it comes to my Adidas shoes, you can see that there's going to be a little bit more flex side to side. There's going to be a little bit more flex up and down as well. So beginner, this was wonderful, but both of them still have a nice, solid, stable heel cup. There's always going to be probably a strap or nice, very good structure side to side as well. Because one, you're not doing a whole lot of movement side to side, but because we are throwing a lot of weight overhead, we want to make sure we have a nice structure side to side. And again, that heel cup is nice and stable, and so you don't have any wobble at the bottom of your movement. Those are lifters. Let's move on to cross trainers, and I'll show you a couple cross training shoes. When it comes to cross trainers, they are made for circuit, HIIT training, anything that deals with plyometrics, jumping, moving forward, backwards, side to side, nice and quick movements. That's what you're going to want ideally cross trainers for. Why? Because there's going to be a little bit more flex in the shoe, side to side. There's going to be that nice, still stable heel cup without it being so structured that you can't even move it like the lifters. Trying to move quick feet, side to side shuffles, plyos, jumping, anything like that. The structure on the side is going to be nice, especially for those quick change direction movements, any kind of lateral lunges, lateral movements that you make through that you want to have a nice aggressive power drive through. You're going to get a good structure on a cross trainer. From there, they also have good, for most cross trainers have a nice, good breathable texture at the top, very light and breathable. So then when you are in the middle of a workout, your feet aren't getting too hot and your feet aren't getting too sweaty. From there, we move to maybe the bottom. The bottom does have a nice, good grip and traction. So when you are on black rubber mats or any kind of flooring, at a gym, you should have at least a decent amount of traction from your shoes. Some people always say like, oh, well, can I use my cross trainers for running? So, because there is some CrossFit workouts like WODs and stuff that do have a mile, maybe 400-meter run or so. Right now, I just have my Nikes out. Reebok has brought out the Nano X1. This is just the Nano X, but the Nano X1, so Reebok is known to have a little bit more cushion in the ball of their foot, and they brought out the X1, which is supposed to end up adding a little extra cushion in the ball to then give those People who are adding a little bit of running, maybe a couple miles. I wouldn't go anywhere past 3 to 5. That 5 would be a very, very max. But that just gives them some chance to be able to incorporate a little bit of running distance into their EMOM or their AMRAP or their circuit or HIIT training workout that they're doing. But don't go too long, and this is not something that you do every single day in these shoes. Cross trainers are for the gym. They're for that multi-directional movement. Try to have a separate shoe for your running. One big difference between Nikes and Reebok always has a little bit more of a wider toe box. So if you're somebody who needs a little bit wider toe box or has a wider foot, then check out Reebok versus Nike. Let's move on to road running and talk about that. Okay. So now on to road running shoes. Biggest difference between road running shoes and cross trainers. Couple things. You're going to have a little bit more cushioning at the bottom of a road shoe than a cross trainer. Road shoes are going to be built to have that forward movement. Again, like I said, cross trainers are going to be built to withstand that multi-directional movement side to side. A couple other things, so there's going to be a little bit more shock absorption from the road shoe due to the cushioning and the ball, a little bit more cushioning in the ball and the heel. So when you are on that concrete, putting in miles on top of miles, you're going to want a shoe that's going to absorb some of that cushion or some of that pounding. We're going to have a lot of nice, super light, super breathable style material at the top. As we're running and as our feet are getting hotter and warmer, we do have a nice breathable material at the top. From there, some people do use a road shoe for cross training. A road shoe can be used for circuit training or HIIT training. The only thing that comes to it is that can cause to be a little bit more unstable. If you have questions on any of this, please shoot me a message or comment below and I can kind of go in detail a little bit more. But there's a lot to shoes that most people don't ever put into thought. They just put them on their feet and go for it, and that's where injuries can start from. Road, good traction usually on the base, but one thing you do need to have traction for is trails. So I'm going to I'm going to pull out some trail shoes and let's compare the road shoes to trails. These are a little worn, but that means that they've been loved. So trail shoes, biggest difference here we can already look at, like I was speaking of, is tread. So road shoes going to have a little less tread, a little less aggressive of these lugs throughout the tread of a trail that are going to help to grip the ground a little bit more. Road shoes won't have that as much. So when we are on an unstable surface like trails, having lugs, and what I mean about lugs, to give you a little bit more detail, like the Solomons, they have nice, all these giant spacing and like these giant lugs. So this will help, these trail shoes then end up helping to grab that ground a little bit more. The nice thing is all trail shoes will still have a nice cushion at the base, breathable upper to help keep the feet cool and stuff. One thing is most trail shoes will have some kind of either toe protection or second layer of material on top, either on the toes or around even along the side and the heels to help with water resistance. There is some trail shoes out there, the GTXs usually, or Gore-Tex style shoes that will have water, they'll be a little more waterproof. But trails basically are there for, trails running shoes are to have that mix of running while on trail. That's the biggest kind of difference when it comes to picking between a trail and a road. Now from there, moving the road out, because I think we've kind of beat the road up a little bit when it comes to the shoes. So last shoe I want to go over, we have our trails, but then there's people who always ask about trails versus hiking boots. So let me pull out mine. A couple things when it comes to trails versus hiking boots and how to decipher on what to use them for and what not to. Biggest thing, hiking boots are, first off, heavier. Hiking boots are also going to be very structured at the base. There is no flex or give at all. Compared to a trail, you're going to at least have a little bit of movement. But from there, then most of them are also going to have a nice ankle support. So you can see how compared to the trail, the boot has a higher rise over the ankle, so you'll have a nice ankle structure compared to your trail, which is a nice lower. So if you're somebody who knows you roll your ankles easily, or you're going to be on a very aggressive train to where it's going to be very rocky, or maybe you're going to be slipping and sliding because due to mud or snow. But if you're on a nice kind of groomed trail, you're just running through your daily path that you always do, you might want to go for your trail shoe. If you're looking for something light, go for a trail shoe. If you need something a little bit more sturdy and durable, go for that hiking boot. But yeah, that's all. That's all I have for you. Thank you for joining me with me at my closet. Hopefully I helped decipher between what to get depending on what activities you're doing. It's a lot though, so and there's so much more detail that I could go into too as well. So shoot me over a comment below. You can follow us on Instagram too as well, and send us a direct message through there. And I can answer any questions you do have. If you're stuck between a couple of different brands or a couple different models, or again, cross trainer versus road or trail, whatever you're using them for, let me know. Again, comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. And again, thank you so much for joining me at my closet with all my shoes that I love so much. Have a great one.